Hey guys, you're here with my most ambitious project yet. I've dreamed of this and thought of it for years and years and years, but never had the guts to go ahead and try it. But here we are. We got Yoshi, my trusty 2008 Yamaha Warrior 1700cc bike. It's got 80 some odd thousand miles on it now, all over the world. But one thing I've never had is a sidecar. So we're going to try to put one on. One of my friends in Russia, a really good guy, he lives in a city called Tver. His name is Kest. He hooked me up with these sidecars when I lived in Russia. He gave me two sidecar bodies and one frame. Now I'm going to end up modifying this frame to fit and everything, but we're going to do the best we can. I got nothing but mostly junk tools here, levels and straight edges and everything. It's probably 50-60 years old, and the frame itself, this frame would have been something like a mid-1960s, early 1970s frame off of a Ural motorcycle. So stay tuned. First thing I need to do is get the bike set up, get it straight and level. Alright, so it's going to be important when we go to do this that we want the bike to be level, and we need the wheels to be lined up. So I'm going to set this across the top and scope it out. And we are level. So what I did here is I put right here boards under there and shims out of old washers to get it level. The other thing that's really important here is we want the bike to be setting on a suspension, so that way it's at pretty much the ride height of an unladen bike. So that's where we are right now. These boards here are just barely holding any weight of the bike. So the next thing we're going to do is check for straightness of the bike and make sure that the front wheel is straight with the back wheel. Alright, so the way I'm going to check the straightness is I'm going to take this level and I put these two 2x6s up just on the floor, right beside the wheel on the back. And I'm going to stick this level against the tire. So I'm running on that level is straight with the rear tire. Then I'll take this piece of angle iron and prop it up against that level. Here in the front, I have two more 2x6s. Take your level. And it's important that you use the same side on for both of these, the way you measure. If you do this and then you flip it over like that, if your level ain't right, you're going to end up with bad measurements. So I put the level on the board and I'm going over to the rim here. So level, it is 5.5, just a hair more than 5.5 to the side of the level there, to the rim. Come over here, do the same thing, level. So we're off. This here is only 5.25. Let me double check. So now before we go any further, make sure that your back end is flush. Everything here is good. I think we need to kick the rear of the bike over that way. Alright, so I got the bike level, and straight in line with each other with both ends. So now we're kind of ready to get started on the next part. But before we go ahead, I should tell you guys I've never mounted a sidecar before. I have a vague idea of what I'm doing. This is from tons of research online. I know there's some of you guys out there that have done this before, so write down in the comments what I'm doing wrong. I know for sure once you're all done, your sidecar won't be straight. It'll be tipped out from where your sidecar is, your motorcycle will be, I should say. But I can do that in the adjustments of the frame that we're going to put together here. So the next thing I want to talk about is how to connect your frame to your sidecar, or to your motorcycle, sorry. And to do that, you can buy clamps and everything to connect it right to your frame, but I don't want to do that. Everything I've read online, it's not the best idea to do that, you want to make a subframe. So I want to make a subframe that's going to bolt on in some really strong places on this bike. Like one place that it should bolt on would be right here behind or underneath where your foot pegs bolt on. It wouldn't be a bad idea right here. I have an engine mount. I can pull that engine mount bolt nut off, buy a longer bolt and put in there and mount something there. Then I'm going to bring it back, and it's got to turn up here somewhere, because up here I got to have 2 bottom mounts and 2 top mounts. So to do the top mounts here, I'm going to turn it's going to be like 1.5 inches by 1.2 tubing. It'll turn up along the frame rail, and I'll tie it in here, and then it'll come up to somewhere here, and that's where it'll stop. And then from there I'll tie the top in, and I'll tie the bottom in somewhere right here. On the back, the bottom is going to get tied in. I don't know exactly, but the tube is going to come back. And then I'm going to go up with 1/4 inch steel plate, and I'm going to tie in the top to where this passenger foot peg is, and I'm also going to tie it into here where I've got my muffler hanging from. And I think I'm going to take down below here where the shock mounts to. I think I'm going to go ahead and take something down underneath there, a piece of 1/4 inch plate, and mount on the bottom there and get longer bolts for my shock mount, and that way I'll have a really nice strong subframe. And I want to do that because if you just mount it here, I'm afraid what will happen is over time the stress is going to break. It has a possibility of breaking your frame. If you mount a subframe and mount it to these really hardcore heavy duty points, then ideally your subframe will break, or your welds, or whatever you can do. So that's going to be the next step, is just figuring out exactly how and I'm going to do all this, and then we can get started. So stay tuned.